Welcome to Pencil Paper Plot, the YouTube channel where we pull back the curtain on legendary scripts, dissecting their DNA to uncover the storytelling magic within.
That's right.
If you're an aspiring writer, maybe a filmmaker, or even just a story lover who wants to understand what makes a script really tick, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're embarking on, well, a pretty exciting deep dive into a true cult classic. It's a film that masterfully blends horror, comedy, and action with this really singular kind of chaotic vision.
Yeah, it's always a thrill to get our hands on a great screenplay, isn't it? Because it's truly where all the big ideas and, the precise execution really begin. What's fascinating about today's script is how it just lays out the blueprint for a film that feels, well, both wildly spontaneous but also meticulously crafted.
That's right. Our focus today is the 1991 shooting script for The Army of Darkness, penned by the legendary Sam Raimi and Ivan Raimi. And this isn't just a sequel that kind of picked up where the last one left off. It's really a genre-bending ride that pushes its protagonist, Ash, to the absolute limit.
Oh, yeah.
Sending him spiraling through time and space to face off against, well, an army of the undead. We're going to walk through this script section by section, uncovering some brilliant writing techniques, character beats, and how every single element contributes to the film's unforgettable charm.
Definitely.
From its innovative exposition to its incredible action sequences and those darkly comedic twists.
Exactly. As we explore this script, we'll look at how exposition is handled with, remarkable efficiency, which is, a crucial skill for any writer tackling a continuing story.
Right.
We'll also examine how character arcs are developed, not just through dialogue, but primarily through Ash's chaotic actions and his, often reluctant choices.
Yeah, he's not exactly jumping into heroism.
Not at all. And what's particularly compelling here is the clever use of specific script writing terms that directly guide the cinematic execution. They paint such a vivid picture for the crew and ultimately for us, the audience. And, of course, we'll see how the Raimis expertly weave in moments of both, like visceral terror and genuine laugh-out-loud humor, sometimes in the same beat.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So get ready to see the raw blueprint of a chaotic masterpiece, and maybe pick up a few tricks for your own writing along the way.
Okay, let's unpack this opening then. The script doesn't waste a single page getting us up to speed.
No, it jumps right in.
It plunges us immediately into Ash's world through this grainy, black and white close-up of his face and a desperate, almost rambling monologue.
Right, that close-up.
It's Ash, he's in his mid-20s, his jaws set, haunted eyes darting around with this really palpable fear.
Yeah.
He's speaking to someone, maybe an unseen interviewer, desperately trying to convince them, and maybe himself, of his sanity, despite the fact he's seen, quote, godless things moving in the woods.
Chilling line.
He claims to think more clearly now, asserting the existence of a living evil that wants warm life on this earth. It's just an immediate, jarring, and highly effective hook.
It really is.
It sets this unique, unsettling, yet somehow darkly humorous tone right from the very first line.
And what's fascinating about this introduction is that it's just a masterclass in concise exposition through voiceover, which is, like we said, especially critical for a sequel or a story continuing from previous events like the Evil Dead saga.
Definitely.
Army of Darkness uses Ash's opening voiceover and these rapid-fire flashbacks marked by specific script notations like dissolved tusks to quickly recap his horrifying past encounters with the Necronomicon.
That book.
Yeah, that infamous ancient Sumerian text, bound in human flesh and inked in human blood. Classic.
So creepy.
We swiftly transition through key moments. The log cabin in the dark forest, Ash picking up the book, flipping through its bizarre burial rites and prophecies. The script just wastes no time getting to the core events.
Right, like the book awakening something dark.
His hand becoming possessed, twisting into that claw.
His desperate act of severing it with a chainsaw.
Yeah, and his attempt to send the evil back by reading a passage that inadvertently opened a hole in time. It's like this blink and you miss it horror highlight reel.
Totally.
It just brings you fully into Ash's traumatized headspace immediately.
It's incredibly efficient, isn't it? The VO even gives us his classic, understated, I just didn't plan on coming along, as he's swallowed by the time vortex.
Yeah.
For aspiring writers watching, this is a phenomenal tip for handling sequels or, continuing stories without bogging down the narrative.
Absolutely.
Instead of a long, clunky info dump that just grinds the story to a halt, the VO provides just enough context and mood.
It trusts the audience.
Exactly. It thrusts you to either know the previous films, in this case, Evil Dead 30, or to immediately pick up the terrifying gist of what Ash has endured. And more importantly, it establishes Ash's character immediately. Not as a typical hero, but as someone who has seen things, who is deeply traumatized and frankly barely hanging on.
Yeah, you get that sense right away.
You understand his desperation and his unique, dark sense of humor right from the jump, which is essential because it sets the stage for the specific brand of horror comedy that defines this film. This isn't just an info dump. It's a character-defining introduction that allows all the chaos that follows to serve as pure plot and character progression.
And that rapid recap flows seamlessly into the visual shorthand of the time vortex itself, doesn't it?
It does.
The script describes trees and Ash's iconic 73 Delta 88 Oldsmobile being sucked up into this swirling funnel cloud, tumbling weightlessly through the void of time.
Yeah, that poor car.
It's chaotic and disorienting, perfectly setting the stage for his utterly unexpected arrival in a completely alien place.
Yeah.
It's a visual representation of his entire world just being turned upside down.
Then we get to that unique animated title sequence, which is actually written right into the script.
Oh, right, the animation notes.
Yeah, it's described as an animation, a tendril of smoke, swirling through blackness, building to this eerie crescendo of women's voices, forming the words, Bruce Campbell, then V's, and finally, the Army of Darkness.
So
Totally. And the script even includes superimpose as a script writing term. Now, that's a clear instruction to production for specific visual overlays, like the Book of the Dead image and these titles.
So it's not just plot points, it's aesthetic direction.
Exactly. It's a very specific directive about the aesthetic and tone, showing the Raimis knew exactly what they wanted the audience to experience, even down to the smallest on-screen graphic detail.
Precisely. After that whirlwind opening, Ash just tumbles from the sky, landing in this barren wasteland. It's such a stark contrast to the dark cabin.
Yeah, totally different environment.
His trusty double-barreled shotgun lands beside him, and then the 73 Oldsmobile comes crashing to the ground a moment later, still remarkably intact somehow.
That car is indestructible.
It really is. It's a very visually impactful arrival. And then the story immediately introduces the source of the film's primary fish-out-of-water conflict.
Good nights.
Right. 25 mounted horsemen in full 12th century armor appear over a hill, swords drawn. They hail Ash, immediately misinterpreting his arrival as the promised one who has come from the sky to deliver us.
Talk about a misunderstanding.
It's an instant clash of eras and expectations.
And this is such a classic fish out of water setup, isn't it? But it's brilliantly executed specifically because of Ash's unique character and that immediate visual contrast.
Yeah, the visuals sell it immediately.
The script vividly describes Arthur's point of view. He's the muscular commander evaluating Ash. He sees the Delta 88 Oldsmobile, this bizarre metal beast, the chainsaw strapped to Ash's back, a weapon of unknown power, the handless stump of Ash's right arm suggesting this brutal path.
Right, the missing hand.
And the double-barreled shotgun, a fearsome firearm. These specific visual details instantly establish character, setting, and the central conflict without needing a single line of dialogue from the medieval characters.
It creates those immediate aha moments for the audience.
Totally. Perfectly highlighting the absurdity of Ash's situation. He's a modern man with modern tools and a modern sensibility, dropped into a completely alien medieval world where his very presence is just a paradox.
And that contrast is immediately exploited for conflict. Arthur, the commander, he's skeptical, natural.
As you would be.
He questions Ash's identity. Meanwhile, Wiseman John, this elderly man in a long black cloak, steps forward, believing Ash truly is the promised one written of in the Necronomicon.
So there's immediate division.
Right, and Arthur performs this harsh test, bringing his sword down across Ash's chest, which cuts him. Arthur declares he bleeds, as a man bleeds. The one written of in the book would not bleed.
Ouch. Rough welcome.
This proves Ash is not the prophesied unbleeding hero, at least in Arthur's eyes, leading to his condemnation, to the pit with him. It sets up Ash as this reluctant, flawed figure right from the very beginning.
And Ash's immediate reaction here is just, it's perfect Ash. He's not noble, he's not defiant,
Nope.
He's scared and entirely looking out for himself. Hey, I never even saw these assholes before. You gotta tell him you don't know me. We never met. He pleads to Duke Henry, a fellow prisoner he's just met.
Huh. Classic Ash.
This is such a crucial character beat for writers to note. Ash is not a hero yet. His journey isn't about revealing pre-existing heroism. It's about being forced into it, kicking and screaming.
Right.
Showing a protagonist's flaws, their genuine fear, even their cowardice before their eventual heroism makes their transformation so much more impactful and, honestly, funnier and more believable.
Definitely more believable.
He's human, he's scared, and he just wants out. When Goldtooth charges his horse at Ash, Ash simply swings the shotgun like a club, cracking him in the jaw. Then he leaps onto Goldtooth's horse, desperately trying to escape, kicking warriors as he gallops past. His frantic search for stirrups. Where the hell they put the stirrups on this thing?
That line.
These early actions paint this vivid picture of a guy who's resourceful, yeah, but completely out of his element, and still very much looking out for number one. He's not a knight, he's just Ash trying not to die.
And the script uses clear camera directives during this chaotic chase sequence to really emphasize Ash's desperate state.
Like what?
Terms like trucking shot aren't just technical instructions. They show the camera literally following Ash as he gallops, almost falling from the horse, trying to find purchase for his feet.
Puts you right there with it.
Exactly, and POV shots, point of view, places directly in Ash's disoriented perspective, like when he glances behind him to see the two horsemen in relentless pursuit. These instructions really shape how the audience experiences his frantic, clumsy escape and the overwhelming pursuit, highlighting his vulnerability despite the bravado.
So those terms aren't just for the crew, they shape the story.
Absolutely. They're narrative tools that directly communicate Ash's struggle and desperation, making his predicament palpable for the viewer. He eventually gets knocked off his horse, of course.
Yeah, that doesn't last long.
His shotgun and chainsaw are confiscated, and he's dragged off to the castle and ultimately towards the pit.
Ah, the pit. And this is where things really start to get, well, grim, but also spectacularly hilarious in that Evil Dead way.
Totally.
Yeah.
Ash and other prisoners, including the formidable Duke Henry the Red, are condemned to this terrifying pit.
And we meet Sheila.
Right, we're introduced to Sheila, described as a striking blonde-haired maiden who's just learned her brother fell to Henry's men.
So she's got beef.
Oh, yeah. She immediately latches onto Ash with this visceral hatred, mistaking him for one of Henry's foul men, spitting and kicking at him as he's dragged past. It's a stark introduction to a medieval world where loyalty and vengeance are paramount.
Sets up their dynamic immediately.
And this pit sequence serves multiple crucial purposes for the story. Firstly, it immediately raises the stakes by introducing a literal death trap, a chilling method of execution.
Yeah, you don't want to go in the pit.
Definitely not. Secondly, it brutally establishes the uncompromising nature of this medieval world. Ash has stumbled into it's a place of swift, brutal justice. And thirdly, it begins to set up Sheila's character as someone who judges quickly, based on appearances, and who holds deep grudges.
Right.
The chilling description of the first warrior thrown into the pit is incredibly effective in building tension and showing the horror. We hear the echoed wailing, the ripping and scratching, the shriek of terror cut short, and then that gruesome geyser of blood erupting upward. It's visceral, disturbing, and paints a very clear picture of the horrors that await Ash.
And what does Ash do in the face of this absolute terror? His immediate reaction is that panicked, utterly cowardly plea to Henry. Hey, I never even saw these assholes before. You gotta tell them you don't know me. We never met.
Still trying to save his own skin.
Exactly. It's another crucial character beat for writers. Ash is not a hero yet, nor is he attempting to be. His journey isn't about revealing some hidden nobility. It's about being relentlessly forced into it.
Yeah.
Showing a protagonist's flaws, their genuine fear, even their moments of profound cowardice before their eventual begrudging heroism makes their transformation infinitely more impactful and, for this film, funnier.
It grounds him.
It does. He's human, he's scared, he just wants out, which makes his later actions so much more meaningful when he finally steps up.
And then Ash is unceremoniously shoved down into the pit himself, landing in that steaming pool of foul water.
Ugh, gross.
The tension builds so slowly and terrifyingly here. He hears a small, unsettling sound, a shadow rounds a corner, and then silently, a pair of bone-white eyes break the surface of the water directly behind him.
Jump scare incoming?
Totally. It's a female Evil Dead, a rotted corpse that just rockets up inches from Ash's face with a terrifying shriek. The script describes its brutal attack. Hammering Ash with rotted fists, a knee drop onto Ash's stomach. Ash is cornered, pummeled, truly desperate. It's a moment of pure, visceral horror.
This is truly one of my favorite parts of the entire script, just when it looks like Ash is completely done for, pummeled, about to be ripped apart by this deadite.
Yeah, it's bad.
Wiseman John, who's been observing Ash with this glimmer of hope, throws down a bundled object from above.
The cavalry arrives.
Sort of.
Sort of. The script explicitly calls for the slow-motion reveal of the chainsaw, highlighting Ash's Excalibur.
Ha! Excalibur, perfect.
It's pure cinematic genius, a moment of triumphant return for his iconic weapon, treated with all the gravitas of a legendary sword being drawn from a stone.
It feels earned, too, after seeing him without it.
Absolutely. Ash's defiant vroom and the roar of the chainsaw as blue exhaust billows up from the pit is just so viscerally satisfying.
You can just hear it. And the script even includes specific onomatopoeic action beats like clink for the chain hitting the ground, whoosh for the chainsaw swinging, thunk for its impact, and blamity blam for the shotgun later.
Ah, those sound cues.
Yeah, these aren't just vague suggestions. They are direct instructions that contribute to the script's energy and directly influence the sound design. It creates this rhythmic, almost musical quality to the chaos.
It elevates the scene beyond just action.
Totally. It directs the whole sensory experience.
And with the chainsaw back in his mechanical, well, at this point, his stump Ash demonstrates this brutal efficiency. It's a shocking display for the medieval onlookers.
They've never seen anything like it.
He slices off the deadite's hand, which, in a moment of classic Raimi dark comedy, flies up and latches onto some drunken spectator's face, causing more chaos.
Oh, the hand gag.
Then, Ash neatly bisects that severed hand before expertly decapitating the beast, and his immediate challenge to the bewildered, terrified crowd above.
Who wants him?
Exactly. All right, now. Who wants to be next? Who wants him? This is a definitive shift. He's not just surviving anymore. He's regaining control and bravado.
Using his unique skills.
Right, using his unique skills to assert dominance and even intimidate his captors. He even shows this twisted generosity by freeing Duke Henry the Red, the very man he was just pleading with.
Which annoys Arthur.
Further angering Arthur, who clearly sees this as an affront to his authority. But it's a calculated move that buys him an unexpected ally.
Smart, in a chaotic way.
Definitely.
Oh, and then the script includes that fantastic beat where the second deadite starts climbing the chain from the pit, only for Ash to nonchalantly shoot it down with the shotgun he gets back. Just a quick blamity blam, and it's done. It utterly underscores his effortless, almost bored competence with these bizarre weapons.
Makes him seem both terrifying and kind of cool to the medieval folk.
Exactly.
This entire sequence serves as such a powerful, inciting incident for Ash's acceptance, however grudgingly, as the promised one.
Actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely. His actions speak louder than any prophecy could. He demonstrates clear, undeniable competence with his strange, powerful weapons, earning the crowd's reverence, even if Arthur remains stubbornly skeptical.
Arthur's not buying it yet.
Not yet. For writers, this is a prime example of effective payoff. The chainsaw and shotgun, introduced early as vital parts of Ash's identity and backstory, become essential tools that define his unique brand of heroism and solve his immediate problem.
Right. So a tip for writers.
Yeah. Ensure your character skills or signature tools are established before they are critically needed, so their use feels earned and impactful. Demonstrating competence through action is always more compelling than just stating it.
Good point.
This scene single-handedly elevates Ash from a terrified victim to a reluctant but undeniably formidable force.
Okay, so now, with his reputation somewhat salvaged, Ash is cleaned up and fed by the castle's people.
A slight upgrade from the pit.
Definitely. And Sheila, who had previously spit on him in an utter contempt, now approaches him, apologizes, and begins to show this surprising admiration. She senses a connection with him, maybe seeing a hero beneath the gruff exterior.
Interesting shift.
But Ash, being Ash, tries to brush her off, saying, "First you want to kill me, now you want to kiss me. Lady, just leave me alone."
Still keeping his distance.
It's a typical Ash response, showing his lingering disinterest in playing the hero role.
And this shift in Sheila's perception is important, though. It begins to humanize Ash in the eyes of others within that world.
True.
The wise men then confirm Ash is indeed the promised one, and explain that only the Necronomicon can both send him back to his own time and dispel the evil from their land. The book, they say, is in a distant cemetery.
The quest is defined.
Right, but Ash, ever the reluctant hero driven by self-preservation, initially refuses. Me? No way, no day. Only place I'm going is home, and that's all I want.
Still focused on getting back.
This is a crucial character beat. Ash's inherent selfishness and desire for self-preservation are immediately challenged. His journey toward heroism isn't a sudden revelation of nobility. It's this slow, begrudging slide into responsibility.
And then the script forces his hand.
Exactly, with a sudden, spectacular demonic attack. The possessed woman, who's already burning, begins shrieking and warning that the evil will feast upon your soul.
Yikes.
It's not a noble choice that makes Ash act. It's one of sheer self-preservation that, by necessity, aligns with the greater good. He has to deal with this to get home.
And the script describes a spectacular, fast-paced scene right after that. Huh. These giant stone archways toppling like giant dominoes.
Oh, yeah, that sequence.
Forcing Ash to save Sheila from certain death by literally tackling her out of the way. It's a very visual, dynamic way to show his priorities shifting, even if only slightly.
Starting to care, maybe.
Maybe. He still wants to go home. But he's starting to care about the people around him, even the ones he just met. For writers, this is a great example of how external forces and escalating stakes can powerfully drive character development.
Pushing them into action.
Right. Ash doesn't suddenly become noble or self-sacrificing. He's forced into heroic actions, and his motivation slowly shifts from pure self-interest to something more communal, something protective. It's a testament to how action can reveal character far more effectively than just dialogue.
Agreed. Next, we see Ash working with the castle's blacksmith to create his spring-driven iron hand, a powerful new tool to replace his severed limb.
The upgrade.
The script describes the meticulous attachment, tightening, and testing of the hand, including Ash bending an iron goblet with its newfound power. It's a moment of practical invention in a medieval setting.
Blending his modern know-how.
Perfectly blending Ash's modern ingenuity with the available ancient technology, highlighting his unique problem-solving abilities.
This is absolutely another favorite part of mine in the script. It's just a fantastic demonstration of character ingenuity and a cool visual upgrade for Ash, especially since he lost his original hand earlier in his story.
It's iconic.
It is. The script's sound descriptions like whoosh for the spring mechanism and clang for the impact of the iron hand really sell the power and mechanism of this new appendage. Makes it feel weighty and real.
Those sounds add so much.
For writers, this is a great reminder to incorporate character upgrades or new abilities organically into the plot. It not only enhances a visual appeal and provides cool action beats, but it also shows character resourcefulness.
Deepens our understanding of Ash.
Exactly. It's Ash saying, okay, I'm stuck here, so let's make this work for me.
But not all of Ash's characteristics are positive, are they? And this script doesn't shy away from showcasing his flaws.
No, definitely not.
As he prepares for his quest to retrieve the Necronomicon, the wise men give him the incantation to speak when he retrieves the book. Klaatu, Verada, Nikto.
The magic words.
And his cavalier attitude here is pivotal. He dismisses the importance with a flippant, I got it. I know your damn words. All right, now you get this straight. I get the book. You send me back. That's the deal. After that, I'm history.
Uh-oh. Famous last words.
He's clearly not taking the ritual seriously, which immediately raises a huge red flag for the audience.
And this, right here, is just brilliant writing. It sets up a classic Chekhov's gun for a later and disastrous payoff.
Explain that for folks maybe not familiar.
Sure. Chekhov's gun is a dramatic principle where if you introduce an element like a gun hanging on the wall in Act 1, it absolutely must be used later in the story. Here, the gun isn't a physical object, but a seemingly minor character flaw. Ash's cavalier attitude towards the precise incantation.
His impatience and arrogance.
Exactly. The script subtly plants this seed early on, making the audience almost forget its significance, only for it to detonate into a catastrophic and hilariously self-inflicted payoff later when it unleashes the entire army of darkness.
Masterful setup.
It's a masterful demonstration of how even small character details can be narrative powder kegs, driving the entire plot forward.
Indeed. For aspiring writers, this is a prime example of how small character flaws or seemingly insignificant details can have enormous plot implications later on. Always pay attention to cause and effect in your narrative.
Right.
A tiny misstep early on can lead to a monumental catastrophe later, and it feels entirely earned because you laid the groundwork so carefully. It's about building consequences directly from character. And
the consequences are almost immediately foreshadowed in the sequence where Ash spends a night alone in that abandoned mill.
Ah, the tiny ashes.
Yes. This is the terrifying and hilarious sequence with the miniature ashes created from his shattered reflection in a mirror. The script describes their mischievous and sadistic attacks with vivid detail.
It's like Looney Tunes horror.
Totally. jamming a fork into his buttocks, attempting to shoot him with his own shotgun, pushing a bucket of grease onto his head, tripping him with a broom handle, even pulling out his molar with pliers. It's relentless, cartoonish assault, but with real stakes for Ash.
This whole sequence is just a masterclass in physical comedy mixed with unsettling horror, isn't it? A signature hallmark of Raimi's distinctive style.
Absolutely.
The little Ashes are both hilarious and genuinely creepy, embodying Ash's own inner demons in miniature form. The detailed descriptions of Ash's reactions, hopping on one foot, howling, screaming, falling victim to every trick, make it so vivid you can practically hear Bruce Campbell's iconic performance as you read.
You really can.
And the script even includes specific scriptwriting terms for the visual effects, like stop-motion animation, which specifies the technique.
Right, for the little guys.
Undercranked, which implies speeding up the footage for that jerky, frantic effect. And even Samocam, a nod to Sam Raimi's signature dynamic camera work.
Those are direct instructions.
They are. They aren't just vague suggestions. They are direct instructions to the filmmakers on how to achieve the visual effects, showing the writer's deep involvement in the cinematic execution and their clear vision.
And the most chilling and maybe grotesque part of this whole affair is when Tiny Ash, #6, is inhaled by the full-sized Ash.
Ugh, yeah, that part.
We see its outline squirming down Ash's arm just beneath the skin, then disappearing into his iron hand. The hand snaps open and closed uncontrollably, possessed, even hitting Ash with an uppercut.
The hand turns against him again.
Then, the miniature evil Ash literally erupts from his shoulder, creating two-headed Ash, a truly horrific sight.
It's pure body horror, but funny.
It is. The gruesome visual details are explicitly called out in the script. A third eyeball blinks on his shoulder, a mouth and nose begin to take shape on the surface of Ash's back, then 2 additional arms sprout, and finally a leg rips out of his stomach and another pops out from his back.
Wow, just reading that is intense.
It's truly grotesque and wonderfully absurd, a moment that could only come from this film.
And this character doubling is a classic storytelling device, right?
Way.
Used here to perfection. Evil Ash is a direct manifestation of Ash's darker impulses.
His selfishness, cowardice.
Yeah, his selfishness, his cowardice, his violent tendencies, his arrogance, all externalized and given horrifying comedic form. It sets up a fundamental internal conflict as an external battle.
He has to fight himself, literally.
Literally. Ash must confront and defeat the worst parts of himself, making his journey not just about getting home, but about overcoming his own flaws.
And his response after shooting evil Ash with the shotgun.
The line.
He delivers the classic line, good, bad, I'm the Ash with the gun. Then, with this chilling matter-of-factness, he says, I know better than to bury you whole.
Foreshadowing.
The subsequent grisly task of dismembering evil Ash with the chainsaw and burying the head, only for it to taunt him from the grave, sets up the ultimate antagonist for the rest of the film. For writers, character doppelgangers or manifestations of internal conflict can lead to highly dynamic and symbolic plot points. Don't be afraid to externalize internal struggles in creative, even bizarre ways.
It raises the stakes and deepens the character's journey.
Definitely.
And that leads us directly to the core conflict. Ash finally arrives at the cemetery, flashlight in hand, to find not 1, but 3 books of the dead lying on a massive slab of black stone.
The choice.
His misadventure with the first 2 is quick and painful. The first book opens into a black hole that sucks in everything, almost pulling in, stretching his face and limbs like taffy.
Great visual gag.
The second is the biting bat book, which sprouts rodent teeth, flaps its pages, and flies around shrieking, pecking at his neck and eyes. It's a rapid-fire sequence of comedic horror.
Each book more dangerous than the last.
Exactly. This is the primary inciting incident for the main conflict of the entire film. Ash is left with only one choice, the third book, the correct one.
And he picks it up.
And as he picks it up, he tries desperately to remember the incantation. Clatu, verata, necta, nectai.
Oh boy. Here it comes.
He hesitates then, in that pivotal moment of arrogance and impatience, deliberately muffles the last word that he can't quite recall, confident he's done enough. Clatu, verata, necta.
He just mumbles it.
He mumbles it, and the consequences are immediate and chilling. A low rumble is heard, and gravestones are thrust from the earth one by one, like skeletal fingers breaking through soil. Ash's arrogance and impatience, established earlier, culminate in this catastrophic mistake.
The payoff for that setup.
Right. For aspiring writers, the consequences of actions, even seemingly minor or humorous ones, are vital for plot progression. A protagonist's flaws should drive the conflict, not just be superficial traits.
Yeah.
Here, Ash's failure to respect the ritual unleashes the entire army of darkness. It's a beautifully executed moment of cause and effect, where a character's defining flaw directly leads to the biggest challenge of their journey.
And what an army. We soon see skeletons ripped from the earth, evil Ash's dismembered body parts assemble into this grotesque, lopsided, decayed version of himself.
Evil Ash is back.
And the army of rot begins its march. To make things personal, winged deadites, these possessed women with bat-like wings, appear and abduct Sheila.
Raising the personal stakes.
Exactly. This is a powerful catalyst for Ash. His immediate no when Sheila is taken and his furious damn you show a definite, palpable change in his character.
He cares now.
He's no longer just a coward trying to escape. He now has a deeply personal reason to fight beyond just wanting to go home. He now genuinely cares about someone else, which is a massive leap for his character.
That's a critical piece of character development. For writers, giving your protagonist something deeply personal to fight for, something they stand to lose, raises the emotional stakes.
Makes their heroism more compelling.
Way more compelling. Ash now has a tangible reason to stay and fight beyond simply surviving and getting home. He has someone to protect.
So despite the despair of Arthur and his men,
who are probably freaking out.
Totally. Ash steps up, rallying them with his galvanizing, I'm through running, we stay and fight speech.
The hero turn. His strategy is ingenious. Unite with Duke Henry the Red, the very man he was fighting earlier in the pit.
Full circle.
And train Arthur's small contingent of like 40 men to fight this supernatural threat. What's particularly fascinating here is his ingenuity in this ancient world.
The gunpowder.
Right, like creating black powder for the cannons from charcoal from a dead fire and chips of dried cow dung and sulfur to be used with arrows and catapults. It's a brilliant blending of modern knowledge with medieval resources.
Yeah, that's just brilliant. We see Ash truly embracing a leadership role here, leveraging his modern knowledge and resourcefulness in this ancient setting to equip an army.
Making himself indispensable.
The creation of gunpowder is such a brilliant narrative detail that highlights his unique contribution to this world. And the script includes that hilarious training scene where Ash berates a warrior who's flinching.
You eyeballing me, boy.
Yes. You eyeballing me, boy, he snarls then. You squeaking like a mouse. Are you a mouse boy? This showcases Ash's evolving confidence, but also ensures he retains his unique, brash style of leadership and signature humor.
He's still Ash.
He is. For writers, character growth isn't always noble or a complete overhaul. Sometimes it's about applying existing traits and rough edges to a more heroic purpose.
Yep.
It makes the character feel consistent, even as they evolve.
Good point. Ash is still Ash, but he's fighting for something bigger now. And then the siege begins.
Yeah.
The chilling arrival of the Deadite army is incredibly well described in the script, painting this macabre and terrifying picture. We see kilted skeleton Scotsmen playing rotted bagpipes.
Oh my God, the bagpipes.
And a bone xylophone, while Viking skeletons with nasty grins on their faces march forward. It's specific, visually rich, and immediately establishes the menacing yet darkly comedic nature of the antagonists.
They're both a threat and funny.
Exactly. They're both a genuine threat and a source of macabre humor. The sound of their footsteps, like a marching thunder, and their unearthly shrieks, builds an incredible sense of dread and scale right there on the page.
The visual descriptions in this script are truly incredible, aren't they? They paint a picture of this macabre, terrifying army with such personality. The nasty grins on their faces really gives them an unsettling, almost human-like character.
It makes them more than just faceless monsters.
Totally. Arthur's men initially use Ash's inventive explosive arrows and catapults to great effect, but they're quickly overwhelmed.
Uh-oh.
The script uses onomatopoeic terms again, like boom, smash, and blamity-blam as action beats. These directly instruct the intensity and impact of the sound design.
Makes the battle feel visceral on the page.
It does. We feel every impact, every explosion as the Deadite army's battering rams rip through the doors, threatening to breach the castle entirely.
Things look grim. And as the siege intensifies, Ash makes what seems like a cowardly retreat.
Right, he runs off.
Seemingly running and hiding in the blacksmith shop, dropping his sword. This is a fantastic false retreat plot device.
Making you doubt him again.
Exactly. A moment designed to make the audience question Ash's transformation and wonder if he's reverted to his old self-serving ways, only to spectacularly subvert expectations moments later. It creates this brief moment of tension before the big reveal.
This is arguably my favorite part of the entire script. The dramatic reveal from the blacksmith shop. The doors of the blacksmith shop burst open to reveal the Death Coaster.
The Death Coaster, yes.
Ash's modified 1973 Delta 88 Oldsmobile, now a steam engine-powered iron beast with spinning helicopter-like rotor blades.
It's insane.
It's such an absurd, brilliant invention, perfectly fitting Ash's character and his resourcefulness, combining modern tech with medieval necessity in the most hilarious and effective way possible.
Only Ash would build that.
Only Ash. The script's explicit sound cues like chuck, chuck, chuck for the engine and the steam whistle that screams to announce its birth are fantastic for a writer to include.
Makes the scene leap off the page.
It does. With raw power and comedic energy, it's an unforgettable entrance for an unforgettable hero. Well, anti-hero.
The Death Coaster then rampages through the dead-eyed army, slicing them to ribbons and plowing through hordes of skeletons. It's a moment of utter triumph.
Until
Goldtooth, one of Arthur's loyal men, is tragically pulled off and transformed into a skeleton himself, still sporting his single gold tooth, a darkly comedic touch, even in death.
Or Goldtooth.
Evil Sheila also confronts Ash on the Death Coaster, taunting him, "Thou didst find me beautiful once," before Ash, in classic style, blasts her off with his shotgun, a grim reminder of the Necronomicon's reach.
Takes her out.
For writers, this scene is a powerful lesson. Don't be afraid to take risks and subvert audience expectations. Sometimes a character's apparent cowardice can be a setup for their most heroic and often most entertaining moment.
Yeah.
Also, using unexpected twists on familiar elements like a car transforming into a monster slicing machine in medieval times can create truly memorable set pieces that define your story and your character.
Definitely memorable. After the Death Coaster's glorious, fiery end, Arthur falls in battle, overwhelmed by the sheer numbers.
A noble end for Arthur.
Ash races up to the parapet, grabbing a mini crossbow with flaming arrows, setting evil Ash ablaze.
The final showdown begins.
The script describes the chilling transformation of evil Ash into his bone-white skeleton form, now with mismatched eyes, a grotesque echo of his human self.
Skeleton Ash.
Then we get the epic sword fight between Ash and Skeleton Ash, incorporating a flaming torch, a brutal physical exchange that brings Ash's journey full circle, confronting his own dark double.
The externalized internal conflict.
Exactly. It's the ultimate internal conflict externalized.
This duel between Ash and evil Ash represents that ultimate confrontation with his own darkness, doesn't it? Almost like a literal exorcism of his worst traits.
Yeah, it feels like that.
His resourcefulness in using the environment, grabbing the burning torch, eventually using the catapult, shows his complete mastery of this chaotic situation. He's a true hero forged in the fires of necessity.
He's fully embraced it now.
And just as Ash seems completely cornered, about to be defeated by Skeleton Ash, we get one of the most satisfying payoffs in the entire script.
The cavalry.
Right. It ties back to an earlier act of Ash's begrudging kindness.
Yes. It's perfect. The shrill call of battle trumpets suddenly announce Duke Henry's men riding thunder down the hill to attack the Deadites.
Duke Henry returns.
This is a textbook example of a setup and payoff. Henry was established early on as a captive whom Ash freed, creating that debt, and now he returns at the critical moment, turning the tide of battle and saving the day.
So satisfying for the audience.
Incredibly satisfying. Seeing that earlier, seemingly self-serving action come to fruition as a heroic turning point. Ash then, with quick thinking, cuts off Skeleton Ash's Necronomicon holding hand.
Gets the book back.
And uses the catapult to fling the skeleton and a burning satchel of gunpowder into the sky, blowing him to bits in a spectacular explosion.
Boom. End of Evil Ash. The script then beautifully ties up the main conflict, with glorious beams of morning sunlight over the battlefield, and the combined armies of Henry and Arthur clearing the Deadite bones and burning them.
The aftermath.
Ash's reflective voiceover over Arthur's funeral pyre at sea. "We said goodbye to Arthur. Sure, we had our problems, but in the end, he was all right," shows Ash's growth and compassion.
A subtle but clear indication he's changed.
He's no longer just the guy who wants to go home. He's a guy who cares about the people he's left behind. The wise men prepare the potion for Ash's return.
Way back.
Each drop allows a man to sleep a century. Swallow 6 drops and thou shalt awaken in thine own time. The final act shows a hero who has earned his return, but also one who has changed.
A slightly wiser, more compassionate Ash.
Maybe slightly.
And then, the classic twist ending. Ash seals himself in a cave with the Death Coaster, ready to take the elixir and return to his own time.
Almost home free.
Almost. The script explicitly calls out the vital detail that creates this fantastic final turn. Ash is unaware that an extra drop has fallen into his mouth, a seventh drop.
Oh, Ash.
The time-lapse photography is vividly described, his wristwatch rotting, the sun and moon cycling for centuries outside the cave, ice forming and melting, signifying vast eons passing.
Sleeping through the centuries.
Ash awakens naked into a futuristic city after the next nuclear war, a dead land. The script leaves us with that chilling final line from Ash's VO, "I found that I had slept too long."
That scream.
That terrified scream at the end is just classic Ash, a perfect blend of horror and dark humor. It's a shocking, darkly humorous twist that leaves you wanting more.
A signature Raimi move. Ensures the story sticks with you.
Totally.
For writers, this ending demonstrates a powerful lesson about the impact of your conclusion. A good twist can redefine the entire story and leave a lasting impression.
Proves not every ending needs to be neat.
Exactly. Not every problem needs a perfectly neat solution. Sometimes the consequence of a minor oversight, like an extra drop of an elixir, can be hilariously devastating, adding another layer to your narrative. It underscores that even when your hero wins and achieves their goal, there can be unforeseen consequences that open up new storytelling possibilities, leaving the audience with that tantalizing what if.
Wow, what a script. The Army of Darkness truly showcases how to brilliantly blend genres, build a character arc through these intense external challenges, and use every part of the buffalo, from a missing hand to a beat-up Oldsmobile, to propel the plot and character forward. It's just a masterclass in controlled chaos and comedic horror.
It really is.
It manages to be both deeply personal for Ash and epically grand in scope.
It's absolutely a masterclass in visual storytelling and writing for a specific, distinct tone. Every action beat, every description, every line of dialogue is crafted to serve that unique voice and style that defines Sam Raimi's work.
Yeah, you feel it on every page.
The way they direct the camera on the page, the specific sound effects they demand, the explicit descriptions of the visual gags, it's all there, ready for a director to bring to life.
A real blueprint.
What's fascinating here is how the humor and the horror are so intricately woven together, often at Ash's expense, which makes him such a relatable and enduring character despite his many, many flaws.
So true. So for all you aspiring writers and filmmakers out there watching, maybe remember these key takeaways from the Army of Darkness and Sam and Ivan Raimi's incredible script.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, exposition can be punchy and incredibly efficient, especially when dealing with a continuing story. Don't dump information. Integrate it into your character's voice and journey.
Right. Show, don't tell, essentially.
Second, character development shines brightest through action, even if it's reluctant action or seemingly selfish choices. Show, don't just tell, your character's growth and flaws and how they evolve under pressure.
Let their choices define them.
Third, small setup details, like a forgotten word or an extra drop of elixir, can lead to big payoffs and unexpected twists, driving your entire narrative in surprising and memorable ways. Plant those seeds.
Cause and effect is key.
Fourth, don't be afraid to inject personality and humor into your genre work. Army of Darkness proves how comedy can amplify both the stakes and the scares, making a story truly unforgettable.
That blend is crucial.
And perhaps most importantly, always, always double-check your incantations before reading from ancient, flesh-bound books.
Huh? Seriously?
Seriously, triple-check them. It could save you a few centuries.
Excellent advice. Thank you for joining us on this in-depth deep dive into the script of The Army of Darkness. It's a film that truly proves a strong, imaginative blueprint on paper leads to unforgettable magic on screen.
We hope this deep dive has given you some valuable insights and sparked your own creative fires. Ultimately, Army of Darkness reminds us that even when chaos reigns on screen, there's often an incredibly meticulous blueprint underneath.
Crafted by writers who understand that true freedom in storytelling comes from absolute control of the page.
It makes you wonder, what other unfilmable ideas could be brought to life with such a precise, imaginative script? And what minor details are you planting in your story today that could become its most impactful or hilariously disastrous turning point tomorrow?
Food for thought.
Keep writing, keep analyzing, and we'll see you next time on Pencil, Paper, Plot as we dissect another incredible screenplay.